Yesterday when I was on with Mike, I showed the trend break in the dollar. That was an add-on signal at 4.5, breaking the trend line. Friday we held it, and I believe it was an ISM that broke. And then today we had ADP numbers that came in a little weaker. So this is starting to look like a flag to me right here, this short-term stuff. If there's an opportunity for you to take something in before the NFP, say down around this trend line, 103.5. Remember, 103.80 was a very key area for me on the way down, 103.80. So, a little bit under there, book it at this return line, and then see what happens with the NFP. Do not let go of your core position, because I'm prepared if we do hold these lows here and there's a rally even all the way back to 105.5. I'm going to just sell more. You're not going to hear me talking about buying the dollar. It's only about where to sell it. And when I'm buying it, it's a cover to take profits or a stop out. Your first sign that we could go to 5.5 would be getting back inside the channel. And there is some confluence here around the 4.5 level. So if you start seeing it trade back in the channel, you're not willing to ride it 100 points to try and sell more and build your position, I don't press the button for anyone but me. You control your own mouse. So that's completely up to you. We do have Bank of Canada today, and I have a little piece on here as well. Short some. If they don't cut rates, I'm sure they'll continue to squeeze, maybe back up towards 720 or maybe even a stop hunt up there. I'm a seller if we get a rally. I'm a seller and add-on if we get a break of 36. So have something on. My conviction level on a weaker dollar is pretty high. So I'm not afraid to have a piece on, and then if the news doesn't go my way, look to add on to my shorts in USDCAD. All right, so Euro, same type of situation. If it's not going to continue and the dollar bounces and gets back over that 640, I think we could see 760 or so in Euro. I'm a buyer there. If cable starts to fail and roll over here, it is diverging. I'm a buyer, about 150 lower at 2620. And if Aussie, which isn't doing much, decides that it needs one more sell-off, that this was A, and this is ABC for B, and we have a C down towards a little bit under 65.30 or so, I'm a buyer in Aussie. Everyone with me on that? Gold is recovering today, getting back most of its losses. Silver was down hard yesterday. Let's talk about this 29 level for some moving averages on the daily. If you were short for this, I'd be covering at 29 because, we should be looking for a place to buy silver. Mike said that they were buying SLV puts, 26 strikes, so that would take it down to 27. But you can see in both gold and silver, we just have two drives, and gold too, right? You have drive one, you have drive two. Maybe if the dollar, we really have a weak number, and yields continue to drop, maybe gold does that too. But I've been talking 2240-ish. It's not that far away. It's $90 away, and we'll see where silver ends up. What tells me it's possible for it to happen is look at the give back we've had in platinum. So, that could be a little bit of a market tell that the correction in the metals are not over. And we also had some very negative days in the miners. Went over that with Mike too. GDX back under the breakout, and this was a long-term breakout in GDX, which now looks like a false breakout, right? It's this whole huge triangle. And, right now it looks like it's aborting it, this triangle right here. Okay. So where could we go? Because I think it's going to be a buying opportunity. I'm not looking for a failure. Um, I have some levels down here on the daily that I'll be paying attention to on GDX. It's a pretty good barometer. And actually, if we start getting through 34, I think we could see halfway back would be 31 and a half. So very possible we could see that to 30 for wave two pullback, and then we go again. Now, the reason I think there might be something happening in a bounce in the dollar is because of yield. So I've been real right about yields from last week when we were up here at 464. That was 78% back, right? And here we are at major support, and it looks like it's trying to break down. But I want you to take a little trip in a time machine with me and look left, okay? This high right here is 433 and a half, and we're at 430 and a half here. So this is a very important pivot because this was a high when people thought rates had peaked and we started coming off. But anyway, good traders look left. There's also a weekly moving average coming in here. It's a 50 week coming in at 428. So you get a, strong number. I'm not looking, I'm also still, bullish TLT. We have a breakout here. Okay. So this is something that I recognized last week. Talked to you guys about it when it was down here at the wedge test. What a move. Way outperforming everything. Better rally than stocks. Bonds are actually outperforming stocks, outperforming metals, um, outperforming the dollar weakness. Bonds look pretty good, but why can't we pull back if we get a strong NFP, which would pop the dollar? So just want to make you alert on it, but this is a bull market in my view in bonds. I do believe that we're going to attack these highs and trade up towards 105, which would be a quality of this rally from here. So bonds are just getting started. Like I was saying up here, once we got back in here, that was a signal, and that we had 5 waves up, which meant you wanted to buy the pullback, and it held right at the wedge line. So bonds still look good to me. Yields look like they're going to trade lower. I think that the 10-year is going to trade under 4, maybe towards 370, 360 over the coming weeks. And we'll see how much jet fuel that gives the stock market. S&Ps are really not that far away from making new highs. They're trying to sell them off a little bit here. Maybe it's a failing rally, but I think we have to still be patient to be short here. NASDAQ's almost at new highs, not giving up the ghost. But I don't think the Dow will make a new high. So this is the way I'd approach it, is when I want to see where the S&P is, and write this down. When you see the Dow Jones back up around 39.4, which is about 600, anywhere from 39.2 to 6. 6 is probably, 61.8 back or so, making a lower high while the S&Ps are making new highs and NASDAQ's making new highs. So that would be the setup. And then you know what? Sell the Dow. Sell the one that's a failing rally rather than the ones that are making new highs. That's my take on the S&Ps. And I think that's going to be it for me. So watch the dollar, Canada. You get a break to 103 and a half on this bear flag. Take something in, not all of it, especially if it's in front of the NFP. So you have till Friday morning. before 8:30 a.m. to get there. And hope I'm adding value to what you're trying to accomplish in a difficult endeavor as a trader. I try and point out the whys and not just make the call so that you can learn. So don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And Mike and I will see you in the room. Adios.